German household. And I'm really glad to be with you tonight and with my family. Two of my boys are joining us musically right now. And they're going to just welcome us into this Shabbat space with some music, with the melody of Shalom Aleichem. So I invite you to get settled, just take a deep breath. Actually, take a few deep breaths while the music plays. I learned this week from the Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron about the practice of breathing, where you breathe in the suffering of the world, but you breathe out peace and love and kindness and compassion. And in that way, we just use our breath, that which connects all life on earth. We use our breath to heal the world. So deep breath in and deep breath out, settle into Shabbat. I also invite you to greet one another in the chat if you'd like, in the comments. Let's send each other a virtual warm embrace. Notice how you're feeling this evening. Maybe set your kavanah, set your intention, what you need this evening. What do you need to breathe in that will replenish you? We're going to start with the nigun, just using our voices for a wordless melody for Shalom Aleichem. We welcome each other and we welcome the angels of peace as we enter into Shabbat time. Shalom Aleichem, that beautiful vernacular greeting that means may peace be upon you. So we wish that for one another this evening as we enter into this sacred time. Those who are just joining us now, I invite you to also take in a deep breath and release your breath, releasing goodness and peace and compassion to the world, and also breathing in from the world what you need. What are the peaceful and loving waves of energy that you need to take into yourself this evening to help replenish your soul for Shabbat? So if you aren't familiar with this online service, know that we do have an online version of the Siddur, the prayer book, and that information is on our website, and you can follow along, but you're also free not to follow along and just to use your voice and your breath and your kavanah, your intention, to bring you into virtual connection with all of us this Shabbat. And I'm grateful to be joined tonight by my husband, Rabbi Jethro Berkman, and by two of my kids, and maybe the third will come along as well, all of whom are very musical, and I'm very, very grateful to have them with me as we go through these online digital services. So as we like to say, we're physically distant, but we are spiritually very much connected. So welcome, welcome, Shabbat Shalom. We're going to light candles, bring in sacred time, and then we'll go into the words of Shalom Aleichem. And if you're following in the hard copy book, you can look on page 24 for the words. When we light the candles, it's a custom to bring the light towards you, waving your arms 3 times. As we do that, maybe you'd like to think of 3 individuals you love and miss. Whether they still inhabit this earthly realm or not, maybe you can invite them in to be with you this Shabbat in a spiritual sense. Welcome those angels of peace with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Shiru Adonai Shir Chadash, sing to Adonai a new song. May all the world sing out. May all the world recognize its interconnectedness, its essential oneness, and may we stand in awe and wonder in the face of all of this miraculous creation. Sing along or yadadai or clap your hands, but do bring yourselves into this space energetically. I really believe it makes a difference, even when we're not in the same physical space. All right. celebrating a Shabbat B'yachad with our Shabbat band. Not quite, but the Berkman brothers are, I think, being a very worthy substitute. We certainly miss being in person with our Shabbat band, and of course we got to see our Shabbat band video a couple weeks ago. But really grateful for the musical talent in this house, and I just keep thinking of the Von Trapp family, and maybe we're the Von Trappersteins or something like that. Okay, so, and I don't see anyone rolling their eyes because I can't see you, so I can make as many bad jokes as I want to, and you can roll your eyes as much as you want, or just turn off the volume, or go do something else. On a more serious note, we're going to go from Psalm 96 now into something that we've sung together a few times in the synagogue. It is unfortunately not in our prayer book, but it is a beautiful melody, and the words are very beautiful as well. It is a prayer that the knots that are in us, either in our, you could imagine the knots that are in your muscles. I don't have to imagine much, because I certainly have a lot of knots in my muscles, or the knots that are constricting us in our own souls, our anxieties, our fears, our griefs, whatever it is that is constricting us. We pray here, Ana bechoach gedulat yemincha tatir tzerura, untie the knots, kabel rinat amcha, accept the joy of your people. Sagvenu tarenu nora. So I'm going to focus on the melody because I find it a beautiful Friday night melody. And if you know the words, feel free to sing along. Ana bechoach, gedulat yemincha, tatir tzerura, kaberinat amcha, tarenu nora. Ana bechoach, gedulat yemincha, tatir tzerura, kaberinat amcha, tarenu nora. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai Ana bechoach, gedulat yemincha, tatir tzerura, kaberinat amcha, sagvenu torenu nora. May all of the knots that are within you be released so that you can sing out with joy. Let's turn to L'Chadodi in the book. We're on page 20 and 21, and it's our custom at Ohabei Shalom to sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. When we get to verse 9, we rise and we face the entrance to our home. If we're able to rise physically, otherwise rise spiritually to symbolically greet that beloved with whom we're reunited each week, this sacred bride, queen, this beautiful sacred pause of Shabbat. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. There's a compilation of his most famous quotes and writings called I Asked for Wonder. And actually, my childhood rabbi gave me this book when I was in my early 20s. Had a huge impact on me, and I got really interested in the theology of Heschel with wonder and awe at its core. So now I'm going to ask you for wonder as we prepare to sing our Magadlu round, our psalm, our snippet of Psalm 92. That means, wow, this creation is amazing. Please put into the comments if you can. Otherwise, share it with somebody or say it to yourself. Something that brought you a sense of awe or wonder before we prepare to sing Hallelujah, Magadlu Ma'asechaya. Give you a moment to do that. I'm going to share with you something that's bringing me a sense of wonder, and that is that my little cousin, Emily, is getting married this weekend, and I guess she's not so little anymore, and I am just in awe and so happy for her. She'll be getting married over Zoom. We'll all be there over Zoom on Sunday. What else? Something that's bringing you a sense of awe or wonder. Hopefully you're saying that or thinking about it. Oh, a radiant neon pink sunset a few nights ago. Yes, I saw that. That was amazing. So I invite you to close your eyes if you'd like to just remember something that brought you a sense of awe and wonder this week as we chant from this psalm. It's at the top of page 342. If you are joining with us in the book. Thank you for sharing some of your bits of awe and wonder, and may you have many more. So I'm going to thank our musicians, and we're going to go into Mariv, which will have a bit less of the instrumental accompaniment. We're going to begin that with Chatzi Kaddish. And Chatzi Kaddish is on page 26. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמת קודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דעם יהירן בעלמה ויאמרו Amen. Please rise if you're able for Baruch Hu. We're on page 28 in the book. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים Blessed are you Adonai who brings on evening Page 32. ואהבתך לא תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו. Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Can be seated if you've still been standing. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בעם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. So we're going to sing Micha Mocha. We did a melody last week that is a melody that's used for Ani Yeshena Velibi Er. I am asleep, but my heart is awake. Something that we began to sing on Slichot in preparation for the High Holy Days last year. But it works with Micha Mocha. So as we recall that most incredible gratitude of our ancestors, we sing out in gratitude, who is like you, Adonai? את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גל ישראל. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו. Please let us lie down in peace, Adonai. Some of us may not be sleeping well. Maybe we never sleep well, or maybe in pandemic times we don't sleep well. This prayer asks that we sleep well, that we wake up ready for a day of working together with one another, each in the image of God, each as a manifestation of godliness, working together to heal our world. So we're going to sing the lines of the blessing, and we'll sing Everything's Gonna Be All Right, a la Bob Marley, interspersed. And then we'll pray that God spread over us a canopy of peace, and that truly we weave that canopy ourselves in our actions and our words with one another, and that canopy of peace that we create together, that embraces all of us and brings us peace and well-being, a sense of shalom and shlemut, of peace and of wholeness.
Okay, start us off, Idan.
Join together for the Amidah. Please rise if you're able. In the book, we're on page 46. We'll chant together, and then we'll have some silent prayer opportunity before joining back together with Shalom Rav, a prayer for peace. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו יהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך מנית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, נאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Take some moments of silent prayer and reflection before we join together with a prayer for peace. On page 60, we sing together Shalom Rav to pray that abundant peace be upon us. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, those in need of healing of body or spirit, the many, many who are suffering from the effects of COVID-19, who are in need of healing of body and spirit. If you'd like to bring others into our virtual space for whom you are praying tonight, we'll give you a moment to add those into the comments or to share them aloud in your home. And we, along with so many communities who are virtually gathered together for Shabbat services tonight, I imagine that all of our healing prayers truly ascending from all parts of the world, and that our kavanah, our shared intention, brings healing and wholeness in some way, and brings comfort to those who are bringing care and comfort to them on the front lines. We'll be in the book, in the hard copy book on page 253. And I want to mention a name of my dear friend's brother, Israel Beryl Ben Galia Rachel Velebel Yonkel, also Zachary Skelding, and Linda Hoffman, Susan Lieberman, and anyone that you would like to mention. See if I can get those names. Susan Doyle and Heather Doyle, Kenny Andrews, Gwen Orzo, Claire Rufino, Deborah Goldman, all those whom we hold in our hearts. We sing together. A special prayer to the spirit of the healthcare workers who are seeing such suffering, who are doing all they can to preserve life, to enact the principle of pikuach nefesh, and that every human being is his or herself a universe, and so very precious. And they are doing that often without proper equipment, working incredibly long hours, and I pray for them, and I know you do too. I'm going to share a few words of Torah before we wrap up our service. We've started a new tradition at TOS where you'll receive a Shabbat message in your inbox with some thoughts, usually on the Torah portion of the week, as connected perhaps to our current reality. So I sent one out this afternoon, so you may already have had a chance to read it, but if not, maybe it will provide some food for thought this Shabbat. And I want to sort of expand on that a little bit. And it's okay if you haven't read it yet, but I wanted to make sure that everyone knows we're beginning a new book of Torah this Shabbat, and we're beginning the book of Numbers. It's called Numbers in English because it begins with God's command to Moses to take account of all the Israelite men of military age. And then God names a member of each tribe as a leader of that tribe, and then each of them, in turn, is supposed to take account, a census of his own tribe. Now, the tribe of Levi, the tribe of the Levites, the priests, are not counted. They are going to be in charge of all the ritual responsibilities that have to do with the Mishkan, including dismantling it and putting it back together whenever the Israelites encamp throughout the wilderness. So they're actually exempt from military service. So there's a lot that is about the census and the tribes that people sometimes find boring about this Torah portion. And I actually find it so poignant, this Torah portion, because it is the first of the book of Numbers, which in Hebrew is not called Numbers. It is not called the Hebrew word for numbers. It is called Bamidbar, in the wilderness. So we're picking up from where the book of Exodus left off when the Israelites were in between the book of Exodus and the book of Numbers that we're beginning now. We have the book of Leviticus, which is filled with laws that are very detailed, very aspirational about how to enact, how to manifest holiness. And now here we are again, back with the people themselves, sort of trudging their way through the wilderness. I'm so sorry. Boy, the dog loves to bark whenever it is time for me to share words of Torah, and I apologize. This is one of the issues of leading services from home. So, where was I? I'll also just say that in Torah time right now, we're 1 month after the consecration of the Mishkan that inaugurated it for service, and we're still several weeks prior to the Jews leaving from Mount Sinai and starting the final leg of their journey to the Holy Land. But of course, now we are less than a week from Mount Sinai, as we will be observing Shavuot and reenacting the receiving of Torah this Thursday night. A lot of detail is given about how the tribes are supposed to be physically spaced in relation to the Mishkan itself. We're told that the Mishkan, the tabernacle, is supposed to be in the middle, and the tribes are supposed to be spaced in a certain way around it. So the Israelites surround this portable dwelling place, or reminder of the holy. But what surrounds the Israelites? What surrounds them, and I'm sorry, my battery is low, so technical adjustment here. What surrounds the Israelites? What surrounds the Israelites is Midbar, wilderness, vast, empty space. And as we know, they spend a long time in this vast space, this space without permanent structures, a time of wandering and unsettledness that must have been both physical and metaphorical. How long until we get there, they must have wondered. How long until we can put down roots? This first parasha in the book of Numbers brings us back, as I said, to where Exodus left off. And it's such a contrast to the book of Leviticus. As Rabbi Richard Bloch puts it, after weeks of dwelling upon the ideal, the vision that Leviticus sets forth of the pure and holy community the Israelites were commanded to construct, the book of Numbers, Bamidbar, brings the Torah back to the real nitty-gritty world of conflict, dissension, and turmoil. So I've been wondering about this wilderness, and I'm not the first to do so. A lot of Torah commentators throughout the ages have wondered, why did the Israelites spend so much time in the wilderness? Why was it a necessary precursor to creating a society in the Promised Land? And if you did look at my Shabbat message, you saw that I put in there an old New Yorker magazine cartoon where the Israelites are saying, we've been wandering for 40 years. Why is Moses being such a guy and not asking for directions, right? The stereotypical man does not ask for directions. I haven't yet met a man for whom that isn't true, so maybe it's more than a generalization. But it is a very funny cartoon. But what would have happened if Moses hadn't been a stereotypical dude and had asked for directions, and the Israelites had gone a lot more directly from where they were to the promised land, instead of this circuitous route full of fear, anxiety, and a lot of kvetching. So I've really been thinking about why was it necessary for the Israelites to develop there before they could be a free people in their land? And also, how might we find connections between the wilderness, the Midbar, and our current reality, living through a global pandemic with a way of life that is new and radically different without a known endpoint. So you'd think that after the constriction of slavery, Mitzrayim, which literally means the narrow places, a wide open wilderness would be so liberating. But as I've spoken about over the last many weeks, the wilderness is also a place that can be disorienting in its simplicity and its vastness, only sky above and ground below. Though the Israelites are freed from slavery, they're dealing with the constriction of anxiety and exhaustion that come from unrelenting impermanence without a clear end in sight. They complain, they even wax nostalgic for Egypt and the food they ate there, etc. So it's difficult in the wilderness. Why was it there that they received Torah? What nutrients did the amniotic sac of the desert give the Israelites in their embryonic form so that they could be birthed into a free and strong people? Israeli historian Nachman Ran writes, within its unique, barren, and dangerous environment, the Israelites learn, respect for the wonders of nature and the importance of each person to the community. No longer slaves, they must now bear the burden of their survival. Their desert journey teaches them mutual dependence and loyalty to one another and to the ethical and ritual commandments that are meant to uplift life with sacred meanings. And that's paraphrased by Howard Field's Torah commentary. So they learn the importance of each person to the community. They learn in the Midbar about how interdependent they are. And that made me think of a lot that I've heard and read about this new kind of social cohesion, this new kind of mutual dependence that is happening in this moment as we live in this new way. And as I saw this funny sort of meme going around on the internet that said, the year 2020 sounded so futuristic, and now it's all like, I traded my neighbor a handkerchief for some carrots. Like, we're all kind of back to basics. Things are stripped bare. We are bartering. We are sharing with one another in new ways. And maybe the Israelites had to learn from that desert experience that they really all have to count on each other when so much else is stripped away. So as I said, a lot has been written about this. Why did they receive the Torah in the wilderness? Why did they have to spend 40 years there and not just have a direct flight, so to speak? The Talmud and the Midrash tell us a few things, and I just want to point them out to you, that Rabbi Akiva, the famous Rabbi Akiva in Talmud Sanhedrin, says their desert suffering allowed them to merit receiving the priceless gift of Torah, that they actually would not have merited receiving Torah at Mount Sinai had they not suffered in the desert. And another source in Nedarim says Torah was given in the desert to teach that we must consider ourselves open, like the Midbar, in order to learn Torah. It's that concept of openness that strikes me the most. It's written, when a person makes oneself like wilderness, which is free to all, Torah is given as a gift. If you make yourself open, if you make that internal wilderness that I think I spoke about last week, that internal midbar, we are open to receiving wisdom. And as we march so very close to Sinai, we will arrive there, God willing, on Thursday night. We need to be open. We need to be open to receive, because this wisdom we are going to accept there is an offering that is useless if we don't open our hearts to it and receive it with an open heart. So I think there's an interesting mix of two reasons why the Israelites really had to experience suffering and interdependence in the desert in the way that they did for so long, and the openness that it perhaps carved out in them so that they could receive the wisdom that they would need to live as a free and strong people in their land. I think that openness, its uncertainty and the insecurity of the Midbar, the wilderness, truly opened something in the Israelites. And I think that this Midbar, this wilderness, without its the security of our typical landscape, I think is opening something in us as well. So I invite you to consider what wisdom it's opening you up to. I invite you to consider what kinds of new relationships and perhaps strengthened bonds it is allowing you to experience with others. Is this expanse around you, though disorienting, is it helping you actually turn inward in a new way and find a great expanse there? Is it helping you be more in touch with your vulnerability, which is such an important component of actually being a strong person? I'll leave you with words from a poet that I love and admire who is not Jewish, David White. He's Irish, I believe, and he writes about vulnerability. And he writes, "It is not a weakness, a passing indisposition, or something we can arrange to do without. Vulnerability is not a choice. Vulnerability is the underlying, ever-present, and abiding undercurrent of our natural state. To run from vulnerability is to run from the essence of our nature. The attempt to be invulnerable is the vain attempt to become something we are not, and most especially to close off our understanding of the grief of others." May this Midbar help attune us to an understanding of the grief of others. May it help us to become who we are and who we need to be. May it help us open our hearts to the wisdom that we need to live our lives as fully and as well as possible. May we be blessed in this strange new openness to find new parts of ourselves and one another. Shabbat Shalom. As always, I welcome any comments, questions, discussion about this. You know where to find me. Email me, make an appointment on the link that's in the newsletter, and let's talk about it. I do miss being able to talk after services. So we are going to conclude our service now with Aleinu, and then we will have a moment for Mourner's Kaddish. We're on page 282 if you're in the book. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula leotzer bereshit, shehu note shamayim veyoser aretz, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגופי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Our thoughts now turn to those who are no longer with us in this world, but whose lives have impacted ours and whom we've loved. Tonight, I offer blessings of comfort to members of our community Neil Spritz and Nancy Kaysen and their boys, Ben and Zeke. Nathan Spritz's father, Neil, passed away a few days ago, and the burial was yesterday, and details for Shiva are forthcoming. Burial was in Baltimore, and to the Spritz Kaysen family, we wish you much comfort. Anyone else that you are remembering, either from our community, from your own world, you can type their name into the comments or simply rise and say their names to yourselves. Give you a moment to do that before we recite Mourner's Kaddish. We rise for Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divra chirutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitparach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kodesha b'ruchu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'yalma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlam Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru imru. Amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. So I have just a few announcements, and then we'll take a moment to count the Omer, and then we'll make Kiddush and Motzi, and we'll have a closing song. So a couple of announcements. As you saw, if you were able to see the message that I sent along with Rabbi Schaefer and our co-presidents out to the community, that despite Governor Baker's announcement, we feel strongly that we must not reopen in any capacity in a physical way at this time. Our building remains closed, but we are wide open. We are very open in the sense that we are still connected, we are available, we are providing, as you know, multiple ways to engage each week aside from these Shabbat services. And of course, we have a wonderful task force with medical specialists and public health specialists and others from our congregation who are going to be thinking deeply about the issue of when and how we reopen as the weeks go on. So stay tuned for those announcements. Tomorrow morning, we will have a Shabbat morning service led by myself and Rabbi Schaefer, along with members of Shir Chadash, and that will be on Zoom, and you can find your link in your email or let us know if you have any questions about how to get into that service. That's tomorrow morning at 10:30. Next Friday, we have something, Thursday, we have Tikkun Zoom Shavuot. So in the tradition of studying for many, many hours in a row to commemorate Zman Matan Toratenu, the time that we receive Torah, we have a wonderful opportunity to learn with members of the Greater Boston Jewish community by many, many teachers. I'll be teaching, Rabbi Schaefer will be teaching, and many others, teaching on all manner of subjects, both cerebral and cooking and yoga and all kinds of things. And the link to that Tikkun Leil Shavuot on Zoom is in our newsletter and on our website. This But first, this Wednesday, all female identified folks are welcome to come to my Rosh Chodesh group, which will be at 7:30, and we'll discuss the book of Ruth in honor of Shavuot, when it's traditional to read the book of Ruth. And then next Friday, as if that weren't enough, we have confirmation of a wonderful group of teenagers who have been in our community for years and years, and we are celebrating them, and they will be leading parts of the service. It's going to be really special and appropriate to have confirmation around the time of Shavuot. All right, there's always lots more going on, but I encourage you to read the message that went out today. You can read my message, you can read more announcements, and be in touch with us. I'm going to give a moment to counting the Omer, though it isn't quite nightfall, because there may be some of you who would like that to be in the service, depending on your custom. We are getting so close. We are, I'll translate it after I say it in Hebrew, but we are really almost to Sinai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Hayom arba'a ve'arba'im yom, shehem shisha shavuot u'shnei yamim la'omer. Today is 44. Starting tonight is the 44th day of the Omer. Let's make Kiddush and Motzi and then close with Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'yahava uvratzon inchilanu, zikaron למעשה וראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר לציית מצרים. כי באנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. And Motzi. Ami, would you like to make Motzi?
Sure.
This is Coco's favorite part. She loves challah so much that she once ate an entire loaf. Unbeknownst to us, until we found the empty bag.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Let's build this world from love. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, with a melody by Rabbi Menachem Creditor. Shabbat Shalom, Temple Ohabei Shalom community, and everyone who joined us
Shabbat Shalom.
from near and far. Thank you, everyone. It's really been wonderful to be with you, and thank you to my musicians, all three of them this evening. I hope you have a restful and peaceful, wonderful Shabbat and weekend.